This is the 13th training video for the CARE program. So we're going to go over lesson 13, which is problem solving part 2. So this lesson is going to pretty much go over or allow students to practice that idea strategy that we learned in the previous lesson. So if you look at the lesson plan in the teacher manual, you can see the only thing that you will need for this lesson is the student workbook and that self-monitoring worksheet students have been filling out, just like all of our previous lessons. We are also going to start this final lesson the same way we've been starting all of our lessons. We're going to practice a relaxation strategy. So have students either practice 30 seconds of calm breathing or muscle relaxation, then review that self-monitoring sheet that students have been filling out every day, and look for changes in their ratings. Next, go ahead and have students review that short-term goal that they set at the end of lesson 12, and fill out that reflection question. So if you remember, lesson 12 introduced the idea, problem-solving strategy, and had students start to practice it on situations at school. So have students reflect on the goal that they set at that point, and then finally go ahead and review the homework from lesson 12. And so if you remember, the homework was a scenario that students needed to apply that idea problem-solving strategy. And so just go ahead and have students share the different outcomes that they came up with, different solutions they came up with, and what they ultimately picked. And then once you're done with that, you are ready to start lesson 13. So lesson 13 is the second part of, is part 2 of problem solving, and it's just to allow students some additional time to practice that problem solving strategy and apply it to situations at school that they might experience. So our lesson goals are, we're going to review the 4 steps of the problem solving process, and we will apply the problem solving process to school scenarios. So first of all, we want students to go ahead and review what each letter in IDEA stands for. So on page 100 of the student workbook, you're going to see this right here, where we've got the first letter of each step, and have students try, if they can fill it out without looking, have them do that. If not, just go ahead and have them write down those the 4 steps to reinforce that strategy. Once you've done that, the rest of the lesson is going to be spent having students write their own scenario, or develop their own scenario, and then apply the IDEA problem-solving strategy. So this should ideally be a scenario that students have experienced at school. We really want them to try and think of a time at school where they've had a problem with another student or with a teacher, or whatever the situation may have been, and then to apply that problem-solving process to it, to show students how they can use this problem-solving process to make good choices when they are faced with a problem. So you can have students complete this activity in small groups, in pairs, or individually, but we want students creating their own scenarios. So you can kind of have them use the previous scenarios that we've practiced on as templates. And then if you have time after students create their scenario or scenarios, invite students to take turns acting out those scenarios, so they're able to kind of model what that good problem-solving process looks like. And so that's what you're going to be doing for the majority of the lesson. We wanted to make sure that you had plenty of time to let students come up or develop those scenarios and act them out if they're comfortable doing so. And it's also wanted to point out that since this is the final lesson, there is no short-term goal or homework. So you won't have to save time to develop that goal or go over the homework for next week, because that is obviously, this is the last lesson. We did go ahead and include within the CARE student workbook a maintenance plan to fill out with students. This is 100% optional, but if you do have time, we do suggest that you complete it. It pretty much just provides an overview of the CARE program and then allows students to create an action plan of what skills students want to continue using. So as part of the maintenance plan, we briefly review the different things that we learned and talked about in the CARE program. So we focused on 8 things there. We also reviewed the idea, problem solving strategy. And then, this is the actual maintenance plan. So these are just some reflection questions for students to fill out to kind of make a plan for what skills did I really feel that I learned in CARE that really helped me and I want to make sure that I continue using. So again, that maintenance plan is not required. It's not something you have to do, but if you do have time to do it, it is suggested. And then there is a final, we go down here, we've got a final parent form that can go home, and that is it.